Summer of 58 is a first-person psychological thriller. Whether you've already played the game and want to revisit the story, or you're too afraid to play it but you're still curious about the story, you're in the right place. Trust me, there's no judgment here. I'm a chicken shit when it comes to these types of games, and Summer of 58 had me on the edge. There was a point where I needed a quick break to regather myself. Now, this video isn't just about recapping the story of Summer of 58, it's about diving into the protagonist's actions and reactions. I'll explore what he could have done differently and should have done, all while sharing my theory of what really happened. So let's do this. Alex Morton is the protagonist of Summer of 58. His job description is listed as the following: investigate possible haunted locations recommended by your subscribers. Barely bring any supplies. Forget that flashlights exist, but remember your battery-operated grinder. Board the doors of a building shut, making it harder to leave in case of an emergency. The ability to speak Russian fluently, or I guess just purchase a Russian-English dictionary at a local market. Alex is, for lack of a better term, a content creator, and his main goal is to challenge any claims of paranormal activity. He doesn't believe it exists. However, when he does encounter a strange phenomenon, moments that scared the hell out of me.
Why are you running?
It doesn't seem to faze him. I mean, I don't believe in this stuff either, but I'll be damned if I'm gonna spend a few nights alone in some abandoned summer camp without so much as a flashlight. His only source of light is a night vision on his video camera. I guess you can count the candles and light bulbs he later finds, but seriously? Why would he assume they were in a building that's likely been abandoned for, what, decades now? And apart from that, he just figured the place had working fuses. Maybe the locals had mentioned this being a possibility, but I doubt it. Later in the game, when we play as the antagonist in 1958, they have both a flashlight and candles. Did he intentionally not bring another light source? Maybe it's a tactic for him to fully immerse himself in his investigations. There are must-haves when camping. And yes, I'm calling it camping because it's an actual summer camp. And 2, because he intended to spend 3 nights in a dilapidated building with no prior knowledge of it having running water or electricity. And that sounds like camping to me. Now, if I were in his shoes, a few must-haves would be flashlights or headlamps with extra batteries, so we aren't forced to rely on the camera's night vision. Water, it's kinda high up on the list of basic life necessities. A complete first aid kit, because you never know when you might get sucker punched by a little ghost girl. A protective face mask, because I know that building's gotta stink. A taser, pepper spray, and a shank, because never let your guard down. Protein bars, so I have enough energy to hit that back. And call me crazy, but a grinder wouldn't make it into my essentials list. Maybe a pair of bolt cutters if anything. It seems as though Alex approaches each case hoping that the place will be haunted. It seems like he wants to be scared. He wants to encounter the paranormal. I know he says he doesn't believe it, but deep down I think he wants to be proven wrong. He is a content creator after all, and he wants to entertain. Ghost Hunters is a TV show which aired from 2004 to 2016. The series followed a team of paranormal investigators who traveled to various haunted locations in pursuit of evidence about the supernatural.
Is there a spooky ghost here? Look! What is that? What is that? I'm pretty sure that's their television! Oh man, I am really scared!
They always pulled up locked and loaded, using devices such as spirit boxes, EVP recorders, and EMF meters to aid in their investigation. Even though the game is set in 2008 and Alex has access to similar ghost hunting equipment, he believes that his video camera is enough. Anyone who doesn't believe in ghosts is most likely going to think these devices are lame as hell and don't actually work. However, if the goal of a paranormal investigator is to gather evidence supporting the existence of ghosts, wouldn't it be helpful for Alex to use any of these devices? Consider the movie 1408 as an example. The protagonist, Mike Enslin, portrayed by John Cusack, is an author who writes about supernatural occurrences. Like Alex, he has his doubts. Yet, when he goes to different haunted locations, he doesn't just bring a video camera. In fact, he doesn't bring a camera at all.
I go into every gig locked and loaded. I travel an EMF meter, full range spectrometer, infrared camera. I mean, look, nothing would make me happier than to experience a paranormal event.
Perhaps he knows that video footage can easily be staged. Relying solely on it is an amateur move. Yeah, that's right, Alex. I said it. I understand Alex is just a normal guy with a video camera trying to prove ghosts exist, but as we'll find out later, he has witnessed them, was attacked by one, and knew he was in danger at the hospital. So you would think that after all of this happened, he would have been more prepared for his next investigation? No, he still doesn't bring jack shit. Now, I can't talk about being prepared for the paranormal without mentioning Sam and Dean Winchester from Supernatural. It aired from 2005 to 2020. These guys always had an entire arsenal with them, including a book with information on almost every variation of the paranormal and methods to reveal it or banish it. The game opens with a cutscene of Alex investigating a house, and right away you could tell something's off. A desk to the left of him is covered in pills and medicine bottles. They had one hell of a party. Or this is reminiscent of the Jonestown Massacre, where everyone drank the Kool-Aid. Roaches scatter past candles on the floor. There's a lot of both. We see a door boarded shut with a cross on it. Turning left at the end of the hallway, we see the words bastard and sorry written on the wall. Is this hinting at a troubled relationship? But as the camera pans down, it becomes clear that the situation is a bit more sinister than that. A pentagram is carved into the floor, accompanied by candles and what appears to be an offering. More writing is on the ceiling with the words hate and sin, and another door with a cross on it, this time with something seeping through the bottom of it. We can't tell if it's blood or not because Alex doesn't care if someone may have been murdered and it's an active crime scene, so he skips right by it. He's only here for the ghost, damn it. He then goes upstairs, glances at a picture in the master bedroom, and calls it a night. And with that being said, pause. So you're telling me you searched all the corners and found absolutely no evidence whatsoever? Maybe this has to happen right then and there for Alex to believe, but come on, why didn't he spend a few nights in this house? My guess is he's trying to get in and out before the cops arrive.
911, what's your emergency?
Your ass is like an exotic cricket, your little ugly ass.
It didn't look like he searched all the corners. If Alex truly wanted to gather evidence of paranormal activity, he could have done more than simply record the house in 480p. Maybe perform a summoning ritual or something. I don't know. Throw some salt and pepper on the floor. Start reading out scriptures from the Bible. Slap the rabbit. Alex is who you call when you can't afford the Ghostbusters. I'm not hating. I just find Alex to be an interesting guy. He decides to travel to the abandoned pioneer camp in Russia at the request of his subscribers. Some people believe that a clock stopping around the same time could indicate the presence of ghosts or spirits, especially between the hours of 3 a.m. and 4 a.m., which is considered to be a peak period of paranormal activity. For example, in the movie The Conjuring, the exact time the clock stopped was 3:07 a.m. And in The Exorcism of Emily Rose, it was 3:02 a.m. The symbolism of things happening in threes is often seen as a mocking of Christianity, insulting the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The first night, he wakes up, checks the clock, and it's the devil's hour, 3:07 a.m. It doesn't seem strange to him at all, or maybe it does, and he keeps it to himself. As we walk down the hallway, someone or something starts knocking on the door. Followed by more knocking on the window in the other room. We go to check it out, but there's nothing there. It seems as though we're in the clear, but after entering the bathroom, we hear footsteps, like someone just ran past us. The suspense is building with every step Alex takes. Every step keeps you on the edge of your seat. The subtle changes of the environment further add to that unsettling feeling. A once open door now seemingly closed. The rabbit doll is always on the move. One second it's in the bathroom, and the next it's in the hallway on a chair. As we continue, the camera then glitches, and if you look closely, you'll see my mouse shoot up towards the ceiling.
Don't
Don't you cry, you bastard.
This was where I almost stained my chair, but not once does he comment on this, or any of the strange noises of that matter, because all of this is perfectly normal. When the lady appeared behind the cupboard to deliver a jump scare, he must have seen her. If he did, well that's it, job's done. Pack up the 3.5 items you brought with you and go home, because according to your surface level investigations, you have everything you need to prove the existence of ghosts. He finds a photo of an older lady standing in a field and has the audacity to call someone's grandma creepy. And with that being said, pause. So ghosts, demons, and spirits don't bother him at all. But old people? Nah, that's a different story. At least from what I can tell. Alex is over here disrespecting Granny. Meanwhile, I'm over here forcing myself to finish this game because Mama ain't raised no At one point, we hear someone breathing. Now, he may not have heard it, but I know he felt that hot-ass breath. In the movie 1408, once the room showed clear signs of paranormal activity, the protagonist immediately tried to escape. All the skepticism he once had was now running down his legs. He was scared shitless, and rightly so. I get that Alex doesn't have to acknowledge every paranormal event, but it would be nice to know that we're on the same page. We encounter the manifestation of a young girl seated in the middle of the room, near the candles we didn't feel the need to bring. And this is where having a first aid kit would have been handy, cause she then proceeds to knock Alex the fuck out. I refuse to count the one in the bathroom, because I can guarantee everything in that kit is crusty as hell. What I'm about to say next truly breaks my heart, but I must. I sincerely regret to inform you that it most likely wasn't the little ghost girl who damn near deleted Alex from existence. Trust me, I wish it weren't true. The ghost girl's name is Anna, by the way. Turns out, it was Yakov that hit Alex over the head, and he did so with the utmost respect. It was probably his grandma Alex was talking shit about. In 1958, everyone at the camp was killed, except for Yakov. He was subsequently accused of the murders after personal belongings of the victims were found in his locker. Which then brings us to Maria Anatolievna, the camp director. She kept a diary where she wrote that Yakov was special and her favorite. Well, she needed his heart surgically removed and put into her son Ivan's chest to save his life. Assuming the photo on her desk with her son was recently taken, one could speculate that Ivan was around the age of 5 in 1958. But here's the kicker. Later we find out Ivan had died 8 years ago in 1950, so he would have been about 13 years old that fateful summer. I'll come back to this later. Yakov overheard a conversation between Maria and the doctor, who would only perform the procedure under one condition. Once Yakov heard of their plan, he left a note for the pre-ghost girl Anna, which said they needed to leave that dusty-ass camp ASAP. Apparently Anna never saw the note. R.I.P. Anna. Should have never left Yakov on red. Yakov then returned to camp the next morning, but everyone was gone, and he had been framed for the murders. Are we seriously supposed to believe that one boy is responsible for killing everyone at the camp based on him having some other kid's stuff in his locker? It's like accusing someone of a crime because they borrowed a pencil from the wrong person. The logic here is questionable, to say the least. Anyone with an IQ above room temperature could realize the absurdity of accusing a child of murdering an entire camp. hiding the bodies too? Originally, I was about to cook Alex for believing he was passing notes back and forth with a ghost, but come to find out, Yakov is actually still alive. This man's gotta be nothing but skin and bones by now, probably pushing 60. How has he survived this long? At one point, we see the remains of an animal being dragged across a classroom. That must have been Yakov. I'm sure they have better food in prison, my guy. In one of the notes, Yakov tells Alex that all the evidence proving he's innocent can be found in the nearby abandoned hospital. He could have gone to the police with that information. He could have written a note and placed it on the front door. The spirits of the camp were friendly to Yakov and would scare off anyone trying to break in. How sweet of them to scare off any chance of exoneration. The document Alex discovered in the safe near the end of the game labels Maria as a poor woman, someone to take pity on. Ultimately, she struggled to come to terms with the loss of her son and eventually lost touch with reality. If only she had more time. The misdiagnosis of Ivan's condition led her to losing trust in doctors. Although, there was still one doctor she did trust, Dr. Alexei Sergeyevich. In fact, they both worked at the same Soviet orphanage from 1946 to 1950. The orphanage was forced to shut down because Dr. Sergeyevich had been caught performing illegal medical procedures. He would remove the kidneys of the children and sell them on the black market, leading to a 6-year prison sentence. In 1955, 5 years later, Maria opened a pioneer summer camp named UNOST. She had been preparing for this for 3 years. Putting us in the summer of 1958, we find a document in her safe containing incriminating evidence on both her and Dr. Sergeyevich. Here's a theory. Maria had been part of the illegal operations from the beginning. At the Soviet orphanage, another doctor initially misdiagnosed her son Ivan, only to discover that he truly needed a heart. She then approached other doctors to ask if they would perform the heart surgery for Ivan. All but one refused. And fortunately for her, Dr. Sergeyevich was willing to attempt it. Unfortunately, the surgery did not go as planned, leading to Ivan's death in 1950, confirmed by his death certificate. This caused Maria to lose her mind, and her carelessness compromised their shady business. She got away with a suspended medical license, while Dr. Sergeyevich received a prison sentence, as he was the one actually performing the surgery. In 1955, Maria opened the summer camp a year before the doctor was to be released from prison. The documents from 1958 mention Maria's interaction with Dr. Sergeyevich outside the nearby hospital, where he refused to work with her. My guess is the doctor was still participating in the surgeries and just refused to work with her trifling ass. After all, it was her idea to release the toxic gas on those kids. She already had it all planned out before talking to the doctor. When it was time for Maria to put the kids into a sleep they never wake up from, she discovers that one of the gas canisters is missing. As she placed the last gas canister by the children's room, she is confronted by a man in a gas mask. He was the one who stole the other canister and had previously released it. This causes her to pass out. But wait, Maria, I thought Yakov stole it. Yeah, how'd that turn out for you? I suspect the man in the mask to be Dr. Sergeyevich. He had no intentions of actually following through with the plan. He saw an opportunity, kill two birds with one stone kind of thing, get revenge on the woman who screwed him over, and take all the kidneys for himself. Plus, he wouldn't have to do the surgery on Maria's imagination. He pulled up with a squad to help him dispose of the bodies, and it was murder he wrote. Yakov was able to survive by hiding in the ventilation system. Dr. Sergeyevich and his assistants took the bodies to the old hospital and locked them in a room along with Maria, who was still alive. They wanted her to suffer. She ended up taking her own life shortly after and left behind a note. It read, "Let the one who finds me feel the pain of a mother who lost her child. I curse everyone who couldn't help me, and I'm not just going to leave. I'll be back." She was still off her rocker talking about, "They couldn't help me." No, Maria, it's that they wouldn't help you, because your kid died 8 years ago. You wanted an ex-convict to perform open heart surgery on a spirit. On one hand, it's sad that she believed she could save her ghostly son up until the end. On the other hand, fuck Maria. While Alex is in the room with Maria's body, he collects all the documents and a knife that was lodged in the skull and escapes from the hospital. We find Alex trapped inside another house he's investigating. He believed the spirits had followed him from the hospital, or they got a free ride when he took the knife. The same dream catcher from the hospital is seen hanging on the upstairs door of the house, and the game ends with Maria standing in the corner in timeout. I genuinely enjoyed playing Summer of 58. The atmosphere created an unsettling vibe, the misdirection and the somewhat obvious twist added a nice touch, and the jump scares had me in the first half. My main critique is that the scares in the hospital section felt a bit rushed. It seemed like the game tried to deliver a final impact by throwing everything at the player at once, but in doing so it somewhat lessened the overall terror. But despite all this, I believe it's a game definitely worth playing.